Hey everyone, your friendly neighborhood school psych nerd here. Welcome back to part 2 of our two-part series on how to create a psych report template that will save you a little bit of time and energy. A lot of what we're doing here isn't going to make a whole lot of sense unless you have at least skimmed the first video in the series, so I definitely recommend going back and watching video 1 if you haven't already done that. You can up the speed on it if you want to. But we are going to go ahead and start off with our same kind of report template. I've just opened a brand new one of that same template that we had created before, and we're going to go ahead and we're going to add in kind of one of those quick parts that we had created. So I'm just going to go ahead and pull in that quick part of the parent request that we created in the last video. One thing that I realized is that when I was showing you guys how to insert quick parts, we were doing it by going up here to insert on the ribbon and then hitting quick parts. There's actually a faster and easier way to do it if you want, which is to kind of highlight all of that area that you wanted, remembering not to grab that last space, and then you can just start typing the name of the building block that you want to pull up. So if we want to pull up that parent request one, I can grab this area and start typing parent request, and I get about halfway through the word, and it's going to say, oh, do you mean the reason for referral that's called parent request? I'm going to hit enter because yes, that's exactly what I mean. If you have a bunch that are all named like something similar to the same thing, that won't work, but for things like that have unique names, you can absolutely do that. So here we are with our same reason for referral building block that we had before, and you'll remember that we have all of these different spaces where we have these kind of yellow areas that are highlighted because we want to create what are called kind of our custom document fields that we're going to use to kind of link all these together. So what we're going to do is, like anywhere right here where we want the student's name, we've got highlighted in yellow right now, but what I'm going to do is I'm going to use some XML coding to kind of link all of these areas where it says name together, and then make it so that when we update one, we'll update all of them. So this is going to get a little bit technical. We are going to do some light coding, I will say, but the good news is it is very simple coding. You don't need to be afraid of it or anything. We'll walk you through it and get it taken care of. But the first thing that we're going to need to do is kind of get access to this developer tab. So you'll notice that like on my ribbon up here, I've got a tab called developer, and you'll probably notice that unless you are like a huge nerd like me and have enabled this already, you may not have the developer tab open. So here's the way that we are going to get that developer tab. We're going to go here to File, then we're going to go down to Options, and then we've got all these options here, but we're going to go to our one that says Customize Ribbon. We're going to click that, and then over here on this right-hand side, these are all of the different things that you can have enabled on your ribbon. We're going to make sure that this little checkbox where it says Developer is checked. You may not have it checked yet, so go ahead and check that, and then hit OK, and then voila, you should have access to where it says Developer up here. So now you'll have that Developer tab. So in order to get started, we are going to need to actually open up a different program and get some XML parts in here. So we are going to go over here, and we're going to need access to the notepad. So mine shows up right here. I use it sometimes. If you don't have it right there, you're going to just start typing the word notepad here, and it'll pop right up. It'll be the first thing. So go ahead and click Notepad. And this is going to open up this sort of very bare bones text editor that Windows has built in. And the good thing about Notepad is that we'll be able to save this document. Instead of saving it as a text file or anything like that, we'll be able to save this as an XML file. So we're going to need some code in order to get started on this, and I've actually got the code prepared for us right here. I will make sure that this is available to copy and paste out of the description of this video on YouTube, so you should be able to just kind of copy what's written there, but it should look exactly like this, and this is just some code that we are going to copy and paste into this document, and that's basically going to define that this is an XML file. It's going to be called PsychologicalReport, and it's going to have a thing in it called a node, and that's basically what we've got. So now we kind of have a shell that this thing has created for us, and so anything that we put in the middle here is going to be variables that we can use in our document. So looking through, we can see some of the variables that we might need. We need name, we need grade, we need school. We've got a bunch of names actually, and then we've got some pronouns that we would like to add as variables. So I've gone through and I have looked at the most common ones and I've got those prepared here. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take those, I'm going to copy them, and I'm going to paste them into our text file right here. We're not ready to go yet. We've still got a little bit of coding to do, but this will get us started at least. So now we have, these are all the variables that we need to prepare. So what we're going to do is we're going to turn this top one, name, into a variable. It's pretty easy to do. What we're going to do is we're going to add these kind of little or these kind of angular parentheses, these triangle bracket sort of things, to either side. Those are where the comma and period keys are on your keyboard. So we are going to bracket that in those brackets, and then we are going to leave a space. Do we leave a space? Let me check on that. Survey says no space. We are not going to leave a space. So we're going to have name right there. We're going to put another bracket on this, and then we are going to do /name, right? And that's kind of code for anything that exists between these two tags is a name, right? And that's all we need to do. So we'll just do that for each and every one of these. So we'll bracket surname, and then no space. We will do /surname. And we need things that are tags to have no spaces in them. So we will do this one as school name, but we will smoosh those together so that they are all one word and don't have any spaces. And we'll say /school name. You want to make sure that the things that are in the front are exactly the same as the things that are in the back. You want them to essentially be mirror images of each other, just with a slash in front of the one that is the end of the tag. We will do the same for grade. And we will just kind of go down this list doing that. And once again, thanks to the magic of editing, here we are. So I've paused us midway through because we've found another thing that we can't have in our things, which is slashes, because we know that when we're coding, slash is what's going to indicate that that's the end of the tag. We can't have one in the middle. So we're going to just change that to a dash. And then we will just keep going. You will also notice that we have some of these that are similar, except we've changed the capitalization. So we've got capital he, she, we've got capital that pronoun, and we also want to have a lowercase of that same pronoun. So we're going to create a separate variable to sort of handle the lowercase version of that same pronoun. And look here, I've forgotten to change that slash, so let me do that. And we're just going to continue down the list in that exact same way. And we'll just continue down the list in this exact same fashion. You'll notice that there are a couple, like for example this one, I can't think of an opportunity when you'd ever actually use a capital of that pronoun, but I'd rather have it and not need it than need it and not have it, right? So you can make as many variables as you want, or as few as you want. So if you just want to have name and the pronouns, you can do that. But I definitely recommend having at least name, surname, and then the pronouns, because that's just going to make things pretty easy on you. So we come down here to parent name, and I put a little asterisk here to remind me that like you might want to keep track of multiple different parent names. So, you know, you can go ahead and type parent1 name, and then a separate one /parent1 name. And you maybe want to put 2 parent names in, you maybe want to put 3, maybe want to put 4, you know? Basically put in as many as you want. So it could be that you want to keep track of, like if the child only has one parent, you know, you only got the one parent that you need to keep track of. But maybe the child has 2 parents, one of whom did the adaptive behavior rating scale and one of whom did the behavior rating scale, or both of whom did both, you know? So there are definitely reasons to keep track of multiple ones. But basically, as long as you follow this same nomenclature strategy where you have, you know, bracketed the variable that you want, and then right next to it with no spaces, slash the exact same thing, Word will know how to handle it, right? So let me go ahead and kind of modify this and make it into teacher. I'll just copy that, paste it, and change where it says parent to where change it to teacher. So yeah, as long as you don't have any special characters or spaces, you should be fine. So yeah, now we've got our variables, and they are kind of encased in this tag that lets us know that this is a node that we want to be able to access using the developer tab. So now we're going to go ahead and save this. And so we are going to click Save As, and we are actually going to save this. We're going to go into our documents. I like to save it in the exact same place where my custom office templates are. And we are actually going to save this as Psychological Report .txt, and it's that tag there that says XML that lets Microsoft Word know that this is XML. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to click Save, and then we are going to close out of that because we don't need that anymore unless we want to edit it later. If we want to edit it later, we know where it is, we know how to name everything, so we are good to go. And you know, just to be clear, you don't have to go back into that XML document, into that text document every time you're writing a report. I know that I said like some kids have one parent, some kids have four. What I meant by that was that you need to have enough variables to cover any situation, so I do recommend having 4 parent variables. And like if you have a secondary school, you might want to have like 6 or more teacher variables because that's the maximum number of teachers. But the good news is we don't like have to go in and edit those XML tags anytime we are writing a report. That's not something that we have to do. Basically, once Word knows where they are and how to handle them, you can just kind of manage them all from here in the super easy way that I am about to show you how. So we are going to go over to where our tab is, our developer tab, and we are going to click right here where it says XML Mapping Pane. This is the XML files that Word kind of is looking for to find variables. It comes pre-baked with some baked in, so it's got these schemas.microsoft.com ones. Those are already baked in. You can see that Psychological Report's already there because I have it and use it. But if you want to open up, you're going to go to where it says Add New Part, and you're going to navigate to this Custom Office Templates file. So you're going to go into your like Documents, Custom Office Templates, and you're going to click where it says Psychological Report, the text file. If you're not seeing it, make sure that this is set to all files, because if it was just set to like Word documents, nothing would pop up, right? So you want to set all files, and you want to say that this is specifically that text file, and then you'll click Open. I'm not going to do that because it would confuse my computer, because it's like I already have something like that. But you would just click Open, and then what you would see is it would look exactly like this. You'd have Psychological Report right up here, which you can click, and you can see that we have access to like all of those same variables. And indeed, I went in and put in, you know, parent all the way up through 4 and teachers all the way up through 4. So now we have access to these variables, and we can sort of use them to replace some of those yellow fields that we have in our report so far. So let's go ahead and add our first variable in, shall we? A good place to put our first one in, we've got student name right here, a little box that is badly in need of the student's first and last name. So let's go ahead and add the student's first name into this box. So we're going to be over here at our XML mapping panel. We're going to right click where it says first name, and we're going to go under Insert Content Control, and we're going to say that this is just plain text. And you'll notice that now there's a little box there that says, it's grayed out, it says click here to enter text. And if we do click in there and we enter text and put the student's name in, it will change to being like not grayed out anymore. So we'll just put in Jamari, and that is our student's name, right? And you will notice that if we come down here, highlight one of these other areas that says name that we've highlighted in yellow. I'm actually going to turn the highlighting off before I do this, but I will go ahead down here and I will right click, insert content control, and we will change, plain text for the student's first name, and you'll notice that it pops right in, Jamari. There you go. So you can do that. That's not much faster than typing the name Jamari, though. So what I recommend is using this in coordination with those quick parts, so that basically your quick parts all have these fields in them that will automatically populate with the details as you paste them in. And I will show you how to get that set up. But the first thing that I notice is I don't want my documents to have like, click here to enter text. They're all going to say that, and they'll be really confusing and hard to do. So what I'm going to do instead is I'm going to go over here to where it says developer. I'm going to enter design mode, which is going to put like bounding boxes on all of the fields that we've put in. And now that we're in design mode, we can actually change what these look like. So right here where it says click here to enter text, I'm going to change that so that it just says name, and now that guide text will be a little bit different. I'm also going to, under properties, I'm going to title this as first name so that I know which name I'm talking about. I'm going to hit OK. And at that point, I can pop out of design mode. And you'll notice that now that box up here just looks like the word name, but it is labeled as first name. But it's still tied to the same variable. So this one down here just says click to enter text, but they're still tied to the same variable. So when I enter the name into one, the name goes to both places, but they look a little bit different. And I prefer the way that this top box looks. So instead of just going and using the XML Mapping Pane to do all these, I'm actually gonna just copy this one by clicking on it and hitting Control-C. Then I'm gonna go down here, I'm gonna delete this one by hitting delete key twice, once to delete the text out of it, and the second time to just delete the field entirely. I'll paste in that same name. I'm actually going to do that everywhere that name is popping up, making sure to take the highlighting off first. Otherwise, it will be highlighted in yellow when we enter it in, which we don't want. So I will go through and change all of those so that they don't have that highlighted yellow thing anymore. And through the magic of editing, that is now done. So you'll see that all of these little name boxes are the way that we want them to be. And if we type in the name Jamari into one, and then click off of it, it automatically populates so that all of the boxes say Jamari, which is very convenient. So we will remove Jamari's name from that so that we can see where our fields are and where they still need to be. So now we need a field for the student's grade. We've got grade right here, and grade would also make sense going right here. So I'm going to insert a content control, plain text. In design mode, I'm going to say that this is actually the student's grade. I will label that. And then I will pop out of design mode. We can copy that. We can paste it in down here. And now we have our grade completely covered as well. Ta-da! Another one that we might want to do is we're going to click over here, and you'll see that it's like, oh, do you want to edit this field? We're going to say no. We're going to use the arrow keys to tab over, and then we can put spaces, which allows us to do things like '(S). Just any time that you click on it and it's like, hey, do you want to edit the name? Be like, nope, and you can do that by arrow keying over by one. And so we'll put a space, and then let's put in the student's surname. So we will put in a plain text field, which we will change to say surname. Yeah, if I just started entering stuff in right there, and you'll notice that it stopped being gray, which we don't necessarily want. We want it to stay grayed out because that makes it really easy to tell. But we will go ahead and put that in as surname. We will change the title of that to surname. And we will pop out of design mode, and now we've got first and last name. I'm going to copy that surname box, double click to pop down into the footer on the second page, and now I can edit where I had put that surname in there before in the last video. I can change that so that it says surname. Now that I've done that, that's a change that I'm going to need to make to the actual document template. So I'm going to have to, like, it won't save in document 1, but I can go through and make that change in the actual document the way that I showed you how in the last video to make sure that that change is permanent, because otherwise that'd be kind of embarrassing for a little yellow thing at the bottom of the reports all the time. But yeah, now we've got that surname that's automatically updating. We can do the same thing over here for pronouns. So right here we've got our his, her, lowercase. So I'm going to come over here. I'm going to delete that first of all. And I am going to replace it with the his, her, lowercase pronoun right here in plain text. And we will do that same thing that we have done before, where we'll go into developer, we'll go into design mode. You'll see that it starts to get kind of crowded looking when you're in design mode. We'll change that, we'll change the properties to his, her, and even like though we couldn't have that in our XML field, we can make it look however we want when we're in here, as long as it's coded correctly. We'll pop out of design mode, and right now that says his, her, which is the two most common pronouns that you'll probably use there. But the good news is you can put anything you want in there. So if you have a student who goes by gender neutral pronouns or any other alternate pronouns, you can just change it to their, and anywhere that it says his or her will update to their based on that. So it's really great, allows you to be very inclusive of like all the different pronouns that people can choose to use. And yeah, so that is basically how you do this. So we have one more thing that we need to kind of add in, which is the school, and we'll add that his, her pronoun area right here really quickly. Let me make sure. I think I forgot to change the highlighting. Oh no, it went. Okay, cool. So now we'll add the school's name in right here. Insert content control, plain text. Design mode, change that one to say school. Oh, and this one, I definitely did miss the formatting on that. So we probably want to change the highlighting on that before we do anything else. Let me make sure that that worked. Nope. Okay, so that being the case, I'm going to grab all of this, change the highlighting so that it doesn't have any highlighting anymore, and now it should yeah, there we go. Perfect. All right, we'll delete that. Oop. Delete that. Yeah, now it's back to being school. So at this point, now this block is exactly the way that we want it. It's ready to go. These changes right here I'm going to have to, of course, make in the template. But this building block right here is now updated and ready to be used kind of permanently. So I'm going to grab that. I'm going to go back over to Insert, and I'm going to go to Quick Parts. I'm going to save the selection to, or well, first we need to delete the other one that's called this. We're going to go into our building blocks organizer. We are going to pop down here to our category of custom. That's the gallery, sorry. Pop right over here to our custom one gallery. And our reason for referral, the one that has all those yellow highlights, and we don't need that anymore. So we're going to delete that one. And then we are going to pop out here, we're going to grab this, and we're going to put this one right back where that other one was. So we're going to go Save Selection to Quick Part Gallery. We're going to put it right back in Custom 1, same place that it was. We're going to create our new category, which was Reasons for Referral, because now there wasn't anything in the category, deleted for the category. Reason for Referral. And we're going to call this one Parent Request. And we're going to put that in our psychological report template. We're going to insert that content in its own paragraph, just like we showed you how to before. So now, when we insert one of those reason for referral things, which I'll put another one down here. So I'll just start typing out parent, and I'll say, do you mean parent reason for referral? And now when we come down here and we say Jamari is a 3rd grade student at Pawnee Elementary School, referred for evaluation by his parent due to concerns related to, you'll see that this has all automatically populated, as has this up here with 3rd grade and Jamari. So you can go through and edit all of your quick parts to do that, or you can do what I do, which is I'm going to pop back to when these were all kind of grayed out. Yeah, so now they're all grayed out again, and you make yourself like a cheat sheet at the bottom of your report. Like you can copy all of these into a section at the end, and then you can just pop down there anytime you need a specific thing to fill out. So yeah, those are kind of the 2 steps. So using the skills that you've got from that first video, as well as from this video, you should be able to put together a report that kind of fills in all of the boilerplate or repetitive text for you. And then you can just kind of focus on writing the interpretation, the bits that really need kind of your care and attention, because all of that repetitive stuff will already be done for you. So big thanks first of all to Laura Leader. She made a series of videos on how to do these kind of custom XML mapping things for in like a law office sort of a setting that I kind of viewed and learned kind of all of this information from her. I'll make sure that her video is linked in the comments of this video. Huge thanks to Laura Leader for putting together such a fabulous video explaining how this works. If you have any questions or comments, go ahead and leave them in the comments. But yeah, thank you so much for watching.